For decades, the Avengers have stood as the line between Earth and extinction. They've fought gods, titans, and multiversal conquerors, but their greatest fear isn't a villain hiding in the shadows. It's a child living in the Baxter Building. Franklin Richards, the Avengers are built on the concept of response threat A appears. The Avengers formulate Plan B, but Franklin Richards doesn't follow the laws of cause and effect. He is a reality warper of the highest order. To the Avengers, he isn't just a powerful ally. He is a walking existential crisis, a singularity in the form of a boy who could accidentally unmake the world before Captain America can even throw his shield. The fear began to crystallize during the early 2010s. While the Avengers were busy dealing with global politics and alien invasions, Franklin was playing with pocket universes under his bed. This isn't a metaphor. He was literally creating entire star systems in the palm of his hand while his parents, Reed and Sue Richards, tried to give him a normal childhood. In the eyes of the Avengers, there is no normal for a child who can command the devourer of worlds. Think about the power dynamics here. The Avengers have spent years trying to stop Galactus from eating the Earth. They view Galactus as a force of nature, yet in the modern era, we've seen an adult version of Franklin treat Galactus like a loyal soldier, his own personal herald. This sends a chilling message to Earth's mightiest heroes. If Franklin grows up and decides the Avengers are no longer necessary, he doesn't have to fight them. He just has to think of a world where they never existed. The Avengers are terrified because they are tactical thinkers, but Franklin is a conceptual being. You can't plan for a kid who rewrites the rules of physics during a temper tantrum. As we move deeper into the 2020s with events like One World Under Doom, the stakes have shifted. The question is no longer how do we protect Franklin, it's how do we protect the multiverse from what Franklin is becoming? If you asked Captain America or Iron Man if they have a plan to stop Franklin Richards, they would likely give you a hero's answer. He's family. We protect him. But behind closed doors, in the soundproof rooms of the Avengers Mountain or the secret meetings of the Illuminati, the conversation is much darker. The Avengers don't just protect Franklin, they monitor him like a ticking nuclear warhead. Think about the psychological toll on a team like the Avengers. Their entire existence is dedicated to Earth's mightiest protection. But how do you protect a world from a boy who can blink and turn the sun into a giant blue marble? You don't, you manage the risk. The secret fear within the Avengers isn't that Franklin will become a villain in the traditional sense, it's the unintentional apocalypse. They remember the Onslaught crisis where Franklin's subconscious fear literally manifested a monster that wiped out the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. Even though he later recreated them in a pocket universe, the trauma remains to the Avengers. They are living in a reality that only exists because a toddler wanted them to be alive. That is a terrifying loss of agency for the world's greatest heroes. This fear reached a fever pitch during the recent One World Under Doom era. When Dr. Doom ascended to God Emperor status, the Avengers saw a blueprint of what absolute power looks like. They watched as Doom manipulated the Richards family, specifically focusing on Franklin's potential. They realized that if a child with that much power were to be swayed by a mentor like Doom or even just a bad day, there is no Hulkbuster armor or magic spell that can stop him. In current 2026 continuity, the tension is higher than ever. Following the Will of Doom fallout, the Avengers are quietly drafting Contingency Omega. It's a silent vigil. They watch his grades, his friendships, and his emotional outbursts not out of parental love, but out of strategic necessity, because the day Franklin Richards stops seeing the Avengers as heroes and starts seeing them as obstacles is the day the Marvel Universe as we know it ends. For most teenagers, puberty is a chaotic storm of hormones, shifting identities, and emotional outbursts. For Franklin Richards, puberty is a multiversal threat. This is the stage that truly keeps the Avengers awake at night, the moment a god-tier reality warper loses his emotional filter. The Avengers are experts at fighting external enemies, but they have no defense against a teenager's bad mood when that teenager can delete the concept of gravity because he's frustrated. Historically, we've seen Franklin's power fluctuate, but as he moves deeper into his mid-teens in the current 2026 landscape, those fluctuations are becoming more violent. Consider the depletion arc from the early 2020s. Franklin temporarily lost his powers, which actually gave the Avengers a collective sigh of relief. For a moment, he was just a boy, but power of that magnitude doesn't just vanish, it migrates. As Franklin matures, his abilities are transitioning from accidental creation to conscious manipulation. The danger lies in the Omega-level burnout. When a mutant of Franklin's caliber hits a growth spurt, their powers often spike before they stabilize. In the past, the Avengers watched as the Phoenix Force consumed Jean Grey during a period of emotional vulnerability. They see the same patterns in Franklin. If he feels isolated, if he feels the weight of his parents' expectations, or if he simply feels the normal teenage urge to rebel, the collateral damage isn't a broken bedroom door. It's a fractured reality. Furthermore, there is the future Franklin problem. The Avengers have met the adult version of this boy, a man who can make Galactus his herald and stand toe-to-toe with the Celestials. They know what he becomes, but the path from confused boy to omnipotent man is a minefield. The Avengers are watching Franklin's social circles and his mental health with a level of scrutiny that borders on a breach of privacy. They aren't just worried about him becoming a villain, they are worried about him becoming a solipsist, someone who realizes that since he can create anything, nothing else is actually real, including the Avengers themselves. There is a quiet, haunting realization that has begun to circulate among the high-level thinkers of the Avengers, from Tony Stark to the Black Panther. It isn't the fear that Franklin Richards will turn evil, it's the fear that he will make them unnecessary. This is the obsolescence of the hero. The Avengers define themselves by struggle. They are mightiest because they overcome impossible odds. But what happens to the concept of a hero in a universe where a single teenager can provide a permanent, effortless solution to every global catastrophe? If Franklin can stabilize the Earth's core with a thought or delete a Chitauri invasion fleet before it reaches the atmosphere, the Avengers cease to be protectors. They become redundant, they become museum pieces. This isn't just theoretical. In the aftermath of the Fantastic Four First Steps and the transition into the Avengers, Doomsday era of 2026, we see the Avengers grappling with their own insignificance. They watched as Franklin, even as a child, did what they couldn't. He fundamentally altered the stakes of reality. The Avengers' secret terror is that Franklin's mercy is actually a form of cage. By solving the world's problems, he robs humanity of its need to grow and defend itself. This is the Franklin-centric gravity that pulls all major Marvel events toward him. During the rebuilding of the multiverse after Secret Wars, the Avengers weren't the architects, they were the bystanders. Franklin and the Molecule Man were the ones actually holding the brushes. For characters like Captain America, who lives for the fight for freedom, a world managed by a reality, Warper is a world without true agency. If the Avengers only exist because Franklin wants them to exist, or because he finds their heroics entertaining, then their entire history is a lie. They aren't Earth's defenders, they are characters in a boy's sandbox. As we move toward the Omega Endgame, the Avengers are realizing that their greatest battle isn't against a villain, but against a future where they simply no longer matter. The Avengers are the world's greatest optimists. They believe that if they fight hard enough, they can save everyone. But Franklin Richards is the living proof that they are wrong. He represents the Omega Endgame, the final chilling chapter of the Marvel multiverse that the Avengers simply cannot prevent. In the deepest archives of the Marvel universe, there is a prophecy. It's not a mystical one, but a mathematical certainty. At the end of time, when the stars go cold and the concept of heroism has faded into the heat death of the universe, there will be two beings left, Galactus and Franklin Richards. This is the ultimate reason for the Avengers' secret terror. They realize that while they are fighting for the now, Franklin is the architect of the next in the landmark history of the Marvel universe. We see this play out. Franklin isn't just a survivor. He is the bridge to the ninth cosmos. He will watch as every Avenger, every civilian, and every memory of Earth 616 dissolves into nothingness. To Captain America, this is a betrayal of the struggle. To Tony Stark, it's a design flaw in reality. The Avengers are terrified because they know they are essentially placeholders. They are keeping the seat warm for a boy who will eventually replace the very concept of existence. Even more disturbing is the Breaker of Worlds scenario seen in the Immortal Hulk era. The Avengers have seen glimpses of a future where Franklin is killed or corrupted before he can fulfill his destiny, leading to a ninth cosmos ruled by the one below. All this puts the Avengers in an impossible position. They must protect Franklin at all costs, even though his survival guarantees that everything the Avengers stand for will eventually be erased and rebuilt in his image. In the 2026 landscape, as the multiverse stabilizes after the Will of Doom, Franklin stands as a silent god in waiting. He is a teenager who occasionally plays video games and argues with his sister, but he carries the weight of the next trillion years on his shoulders. The Avengers watch him not because they think they can control him, but because they are witnessing the slow, inevitable birth of a new reality, one where Earth's mightiest heroes are just a footnote in the grand story of Franklin Richards.